What's up, guys? As promised, I wanted to make sure that I came on and did a video here about this Swiss Tech KRAFTIG that I had picked up from Walmart actually quite some time ago. But this is one that I've actually been very anxious to get to do a review on. It is a fixed blade knife that is very appealing, and I'm very anxious to get to this one. So hopefully you all are too. But like I said, this is a Bushcraft fixed blade knife. One thing that I noticed about Swiss Tech is they're really good about packaging. Their packaging is always very nice. Like this boxing that it comes in, kind of displaying what the knife looks like, a lot of information. They give you an abundance of information about the knife, and all of the Swiss Tech knives that I have purchased, I'm actually going to do a review on another model that they have. They all come in a box like this, and I really like it. So let's get right into it. So when you open up this boxing here, you kind of have this type of display with the knife here on the right side with some indicators that are numbered, and if you follow the numbers, it'll tell you a little bit more about the knife. But otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into it. I want to make sure that I make this a short yet informative video. So we have the knife here, so we're going to get into that. All right, so let's go ahead and take that knife out. And what you have in the box here is the actual knife itself, and then you'll have the actual sheath here that comes with the knife, and then some cord there if you want to use that to wrap around the bottom of the handle there. So let's take a good look at the sheath that we have here. So we have a very premium hard fiberglass, I think is the material. They said this was made out of sheath with the Swiss Tech engraving there. Looks like it has a clip here that does rotate. Looks like 90 degrees is what you're going to get out of that. But good material, good durable material there for the sheath. So let's move along to the knife there. So for the knife itself, let's start off with the blade. So D2 steel here for the blade, and as you can see here across the back, also have the model of the Swiss Tech blade here, or knife, which is the KRAFTIG, which is pretty nice. I really like that they did it that way. We got some jimping here for some added grip for when you're cutting through brush and cutting maybe some firewood or chopping down some limbs and things like that. The other thing that I like to point out is the actual coating that they have here, this blade finish or treatment that they have on the blade here. I've read the box, and they call this type of coating a Taktil type of coating, which is not bad, you know. And if you think about it this way, what they're trying to do here is probably help guard against corrosion on your blade. It really looks nice to me. You know, the color scheme of this knife is a black and a red. I think putting that black coating on the blade itself just makes it stand out a little bit, especially with also adding in the logo of the Swiss Tech there. Now, with that said, obviously, as you continue to use this knife, I do believe that that coating is going to wear away. So after a while, it's going to show a little bit of use, and that coating is most likely going to start to fade as you go. But nevertheless, in the beginning life cycle of the knife itself, I think it does add a little bit of difference to the knife itself. So let's get a little bit of information about the knife. So obviously, as far as the blade shape, we have a drop point blade there. Let's weigh it out here. So the length of the blade itself, I would say is about 5, but I think it's coming in on the box on the specifications as 5.2, and that's probably because they are also adding in this part of the blade. Total length from tip to tip here comes at about 10.2. And one thing I do want to call out is this hammer that you have here at the end of the blade that comes to the back of the body of the blade or the handle. So that hammer can also be used if you're trying to beat something down into place, things like that, or you need to break something, some glass or something that's relatively breakable. You can use that to do that too. Blade thickness. Blade thickness on the box came in at 0.2 inches. And let's see here. Let's jump over to the handle. So the body of the knife itself. So handle material is a micarta. I think they classify this as a canvas micarta. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the handle here. So the handle material that they have here is a canvas micarta. I will say that the material for this micarta doesn't poke out as much or isn't as rough as some micartas I have had and that I've seen. It's actually very, very smooth. If you can get a look at that, it's very smoothed out here for the handle itself. Another thing that I would like to point out here is maybe the thickness of the knife. So let's get a little bit of something there. I would say it's coming in at just under an inch in thickness, which is pretty good for my hand size anyway. I will say that this knife does feel very, very good in your hand. And the thickness of the handle itself is pretty nice. Another thing that you have on this handle is this little piece here, which actually I believe is for if you want to try to start a fire. If you're trying to start a fire with a bow, and typically you would have to find a piece of wood or something to hold down the stick, and then you're pulling that bow to start the fire, you can actually use this instead here to hold down that stick to rotate that bow to start the fire. So that's a pretty nice addition that they have for it there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into knife sharpness straight out of the box. I haven't sharpened this or anything. You saw me pull it out of the box. So let's jump into that and see how sharp it is. So I have a little bit of photo paper here that is a little bit thicker. It's pretty nice. I'll give that a good review. Ounces. Yeah. 10.1. I think it was saying 10.2 on the box. So within a good margin of error, enough for me. Until then, let's go ahead and put this bad boy away into a sheath. I'm gonna drop that in there. Look how nice that fits. Right in there, real nice, cozy. Go out and get you all one too.